Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater.
So if there is one profession where I consistently feel like I have to doff my cap to these folks, I have to give it up. If I had any courage, if I had any guts, if I had any cojones whatsoever, I would be doing something like this. It would have to be stand-up comic. Not because I think I'm necessarily funny, but just because I 100% admire people that can do this more than pretty much anything else on the face of the planet. These are folks with complete and utter independence. They succeed or they fail on their own virtues. It's one person, a microphone, and their relationship with their audience. It's not even like being in a band, being a musician of that sort. You can never turn around and blame the bass player when things go horrifically wrong. And the type of person that it takes to live, thrive, and survive in the world of stand-up comedy is someone that just astounds me, not only with usually their intelligence, but also with their tenacity and their ability to get out there and get things done. And for that reason, I am so unbelievably excited to have one of the funniest women I have ever seen on a stage on the show with us today. Welcome, Aida Rodriguez. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It is a relationship. It's an abusive relationship. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for being here. We've been trying to do this for a while. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, I saw you open up for Michael Blackson last year. Like it was the and credit to you and credit to Michael for turning it into the show that you did, because like I think the first thing that Michael said when he got on stage was he was like, somebody lied to me. This is not what I was promised. Like I'm guessing he got paid, but it was like set up in the lobby of a hotel or a function room of a hotel. There was like one spotlight that was eye level, so it's shining directly into the face of every single comic. A PA that could not reach the back of the room, and like the like some local promoter who, you know, credit to his hustle, had a lot of tenacity, but it was like his kid and his grandma taking tickets at the door. It was a complete, you know, and you know, you folks are big names. And you know what? You just rolled with it and did it. And it was an incredible night.
Oh, the limelight.
Yeah. Does that happen often to you? Do you like show up at a gig and be like, this is not what we talked about? Can I get my agent on the phone?
No, it does happen. You know, I think that when it comes to comedians, we're like the blue collar workers of the entertainment business. So there's no union. We don't have protection like actors. We don't have, you know, there's not a board of people making decisions, protecting our rights. So sometimes we have these amazing gigs where we're in these theaters and they're packed and you know, people are eating nachos with the melted cheese, and that's fancy for us. And then there are times when we end up, you know, on a stage next to a microwave while people make Pop-Tarts during our sets. Like it can happen all in 1 week. So it's the funniest thing ever.
You might recognize Aida from being on. She was a top 10 finalist on season 8 of NBC's Last Comic Standing, and having seen your act, the fact that you were involved in a Nickelodeon show blows my mind. But you were on Mom's Night Out and Parental Discretion, Nuvo TV Stand Up and Deliver. You hosted The Wedding Zinger. You are like a lot of comics, and that your resume is humongous, and it just says to me that you need a certain type of hustle to exist in this world and to make a crust and make a living the way you do. Like, how does all this stuff happen? Is it mostly you, or is it, you know, do you have an agent who books you, or how does, because it seems like most comics I know that are really up in the game, they have an agent, they have maybe a manager, but really it's them doing the work, doing the hustle.
Well, I won't diss the agents and the managers of the world. I do have an agent, and I have several agents actually, and a manager. But it all begins with you, and I think that work begets work. You generate the work, and in Hollywood, it's a business. It's called show business. They don't become interested until you become interesting, and you have to generate the work. When it comes to me and a certain types of comics, you mentioned Steve Hofstetter, who's a friend of mine. We have an additional genetic component because we are natural born hustlers, and we have had to make it happen because we are not people that the machine has been. You mentioned Michael Blackson. My agent was just telling me how awesome Michael Blackson was the other day. And, he has these many followers and, Twitter. So I think that it's important for us to go out there and get it ourselves. And that's what we do. We generate the work, and then we're the people that the people shall speak for us, not the industry.
We will continue to have Aida Rodriguez speak for herself when we get back. Thank you so much for hanging out. Follow her on Twitter at Funny Aida, AIDA.
It's time for a little rebellion. And Italian in front of you is telling you the things you gotta do. Check 1, 2. Is this thing live? 'Cause it's time for the party and the first stage dive.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want.
Our guest on the show today, the hilarious Aida Rodriguez. Follow her on Twitter at Funny Aida, Funny AIDA. Also, check her out at funnyaida.com. Like, if you had one place where people would go to get all information on Aida Rodriguez, where would it be?
I would go to funnyaida.com, and you can get everything that you need to know from me. And if you go to my Facebook page, you'll get everything you need to know from me about from the general public. Because they are my video, my Facebook page right now is on fire. Like, I just posted a video and I have like 7,000 comments, and I was looking at the comment thread and there's people going back and forth because I have a video that got like it's reached like 4 million people, and
good grief. They're
going back and forth. It has like Facebook says it has a 4 million people reach, but the comment section, you would, oh my gosh, I sometimes I fear I don't read comments anymore because people do anything from a death threat to berate you, to propose marriage, to offer to send you a fruit basket. It's like a lot of stuff going on the so I stay away from the comment section.
I'm looking at it now. We'll have to vet it and see if we can play it on the air in just a little bit. But good grief, yeah, wow, shared 28,000 times. All right, so like, how long you been doing comedy?
I've been doing stand up for 8 years. I'm a baby in comedy. Louis C.K. told me 2 months ago. He was like, "Oh, you've been doing stand up for 8. That's so cute."
You know, it's funny because I was about to bring up Louis C.K. because I remember him saying once, it takes 20 years. Because for the first 10 years, and this is Louis C.K., not you. And by the way, Louis C.K. genuinely did suck when he first started out. Like, he is my favorite comic on the face of the planet. But he said, it takes 20 years. First 10 years you spend not sucking and learning how to be good. And then it takes another 10 years for people to realize that you don't suck anymore and to start coming to your shows and for you to start selling tickets and whatnot. But like, the fact that he said he sucked at one point, I was like, how is this possible? And I dug up some early Louis C.K. stand-up, and I think his joke was like, he got on stage and went, and no one laughed. He was like, come on, guys, these are dolphin jokes. I was like, holy crap, that's really, really bad. And he was on TV doing this. It's bananas. So really, 8 years in the game, you're already so funny. You're already so good, and you're doing awfully well, it would seem.
Oh, he paid me a great compliment. He actually watched my set and he liked my comedy, and he was like, "Don't quit. I want you to keep going." And, many people in New York were like, that's a great compliment coming from him because he doesn't, he's an introvert and he was so kind to me. And I was so, I think he's such a great comedian. I was watching him work out some of his new stuff and it's so good. It's so good. And I don't know if I believe that it takes 20 years to become a great comic, but I do believe that you certainly need to pay your dues and you really need to learn to work and develop your voice. But, NBA people would say that it takes how many years to become a great basketball player. And then there's LeBron James and then there's Kobe Bryant. I do believe those people exist in comedy. Not that I'm calling myself a LeBron James or anything, but I do understand what he's saying about putting in the work. I mean, George Carlin is the greatest example of a person being great at comedy and constantly evolving all the way to the end. And that's a hero to me.
We were talking about Carlin on the show the other day and how actually Louis said it was him that he was like, for the first 5-10 years of my career, I was working on the same crappy 25 minutes or whatever it was. And then he said Carlin had a thing where he wrote an hour, he worked the hour for a year, recorded a special, and then threw it all out. And it was that courage to reinvent himself that Louis was really inspired by. But I'm thinking now that like it might be a little different. Like this is a video that you posted really recently, March 5th. And it's got millions of views. It's been shared 28,000 times. Do you think it's tougher now in this day of social media, or is it easier for comics? Because on the one hand, you don't need a TV special to get your stuff out there. On the other hand, there's 8 million people throwing digital content at you all the time. The sort of glut of Twitter and Facebook and internet and YouTube and all of the above, does that make things easier or harder in your game, do you think?
Well, the what I will say this, and some people disagree with me. I am a true comedian. I am a purist when it comes to comedy. And in my personal opinion, there is no substitute for the stage, the microphone, and that audience. Whether you're on YouTube, you can go do 7-second videos on Vine and be hilarious. You can do 15-second videos on Instagram. None of that has anything to do with the art of stand-up. Stand-up comedy is a science and it is an art. It is a medium where a person gets on stage that collects an audience of people from different walks of lives and backgrounds and gets them to share one common thought and laughter. And that to me is pure genius to be able to do that. I don't mean, be a Latin comic and have 300 Latin people laughing at the same thing that you all grew up with, because that's pretty easy. But when you look out into that audience and you see a woman in a burqa and you see a man with a cowboy hat and he's from Texas and she's from Somalia, and you see, a middle class person and the janitor and everybody's laughing at the same thing, that's a genius to me.
It is a genius, and it is a genius that is moving the ball of humanity further down the field, which Between the Laughs is what we're all about on this show. So we are so grateful to have you here. We'll do the news with Funkhauser when we get back. Thank you so much for joining us.
With the H-Town Jam, came to the city with a master plan.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer. When you know that you're good.
So if you head over to funnyaida.com, you're going to see the litany of things that our guest on the show today, Aida Rodriguez, is responsible for. Like so much. And I think a lot of people seem to know you from being on season 8 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's funny, we were talking about our boy Hofstetter, who's been on the show several times. He's like, I've got legit television appearances. I have numerous podcasts. I work for Fox Sports. I'm a sports writer. I've done all this stuff. But, people come up to me in the airport and be like, you're that guy that deals with hecklers on YouTube. He was just like, you never know what people are going to buy. It's the craziest thing. He was like, all this legitimate stuff, and people go, you made fun of rednecks online. And do you have one calling card? If there's one thing that people know you the most for, do you have like one thing for you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm the angry single mom.
Oh, good, because that segues nicely into my next question, but go on.
No, it's funny because, I talk about, my daughter running track and losing races, and this whole everybody gets a trophy era of political correctness. And I'm like, no, I pay so much money for this track club. I want a victory. I want you to come home with victory. It's embarrassing to drive the loser home.
It's embarrassing to drive the loser home with a participation trophy.
Exactly. It's just so it's hard for single moms out there. So I talk about that, and a lot of people, they see me as or the person who lacks political correctness, which is good. I don't ever want to be someone that operates from political correctness. I want to operate from genuine kindness, because I think political correctness is this phony badge of I don't say things because I don't want to get in trouble, and that to me is more offensive than a person who says what they really think because that's what they think,
Yeah, you know what? You know what? That's a very good way of describing it. Act from kindness, not political correctness. Because, yeah, you're 100% right. Whenever I see people sort of like leaning toward political correctness, I'm always like, you phony-ass piece. I know what you said before you got on the mic, like to my fellow radio people. And I was just like, just be real. You can do that, within the confines of the FCC. You're not going to get fired for opting on the side of kindness. That's really, really great way of putting it. So, angry single mom. Let me ask you this.
And I'm not at all.
Let me ask you this. How old's the kid now?
My daughter is 19, and it's funny because this week she got accepted into one of the top programs, college programs in the country, and I'm so proud of her because she's such an amazing human being, and wow. I don't talk publicly about her personal life because she has a right to her privacy, and I'm one of those people that I don't put where they go to school and all that stuff because there are some people out there who have issues, but she's just awesome, and I'm very proud of her. So,
congratulations! How do you? See, like I've got cousins that are younger than your daughter, but still sort of like teenage. I think like 12, 13, 14 now.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was talking to their mom. I was like, how do you, in this day and age, as a parent, especially, and very interesting for you because the digital component of what you do, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. So, like, if you're going to be in broadcasting, if you're going to be a stand-up comic, there's no option. You must do all these things. You must put yourself out there in that way. But to me, the greatest challenge I see for parents with teenage kids is like, how do you parent in the digital age? How did you deal with all that stuff? I mean, if she's 19 now, when she was 12, 13, I don't know. When do kids start having cell phones? And was it the same sort of like when she was 12, 13? Did every kid have a cell phone and an Instagram account? That's a little newer, right? Yeah.
Well, I think the way you parent in this day and age is to parent at home. Stop relying on, celebrities and social media and television if you sit down with your kids during dinner time and turn everything off and talk to them and just are in tune with what's going on in their lives and you create the foundation at home, then the people outside can't break that. And I was a very young mom. I was, I'm a third generation teenage pregnancy. And in my family, like I have a joke about that. I said, that's how we do it in my family. We have our babies, then we get our jobs, then we get our menstrual cycles. But it's a generational curse that truly my daughter broke.
Sorry.
It's the truth. It's okay.
Go on.
So, I just think that we're always, Kim Kardashian is this and this one is that. True enough, those people have an impact because she has 60 million something followers. So that means somebody's following her, paying attention and watching what she's doing. But when I talk to my daughter and we talk about the things that we talk about, I think that nobody has a greater influence on her than I do. So for me, I have full confidence that she goes out into the world feeling good about herself because I've instilled in her that the greater things about her are the things that exist inside, not the things that will fade, like beauty and superficial things. But I've always told her, you're highly intelligent. You are an intellectual beast. You are so creative. You're so, you're so genuine, like those things, because when she starts getting older and she gets a wrinkle, her confidence will still be coming from a place that can't be moved. And so I think it's just important to do that at home and stop relying on, Donald Trump and what did Ted Cruz say, and then Mike Ditka got fired because he said, all that craziness is just what we have at home about this is conversations. We talk about it like people instead of breaking every time something happens, because we're shaped at home and our unit is built at home from things that are real. So the stuff that's outside can't shake us.
Oh, it's so smart. I'm so glad to hear you say that. And I feel the same way when, more than ever, I think. Yeah. And maybe it's just because I'm paying closer attention than I have in any other election cycle ever. But now more than ever, I feel as though people who are hanging their hat on a political candidate being like, this person is, it's like they're demagogues. Like they are saviors to people. And it's just like, if you are expecting whoever is elected to make you happier about your life when you wake up in the morning, it's just not going to happen. You're going to be so wildly disappointed the day after whoever the hell it is gets into office, and you wake up and go, oh, crap, I'm still miserable. And it's just like that message that you're instilling in your kid, that it happens from within. It comes from within, and you create your own value in your actions and who you are. And it's unbelievably astute of you. And it applies not just to raising a teenage daughter, but to a lot of guys I know that are beating the crap out of their 40s that should know better at this stage in the game.
I have to meet those guys every day.
Oh my God, it's bananas how few people have a sense of self-worth that comes from within. It's bananas how many people are looking for external validation or external things to make them happy or external things to change their lives. And it's never been more evident than in this election, I think.
Oh, man. It's so funny. I was reading Twitter, going through tweets the other day, and this young kid was referring to the debates. He doesn't call it a debate. He was referring to it as a roast. And I was like, it's gotten so bad that the debates have been, it just reminds me of that movie Idiocracy. And I think about
Mike Judge, who did Idiocracy, he was like, it's just FYI, this thing that I wrote a movie about, it's happening.
It's happening. He and I tweet. We tweet back and forth. And because I made a meme, and it was like Sarah Palin, Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump, and then Maya Rudolph, and the Wilson brother, and Dax Shepard. And I'm like, this thing has come to fruition, and it's just because we're so consumed with media, and everything that's shaping us is everything that's around us, that, it's turned into a circus. What do we expect it to be? We're like, these people are berating each other. The Democrats and the Republicans have become the Yankees and the Red Sox. You're either pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. It's like, you can't just be pro-people and humanity and fairness and justice. It's like we've become this clown fest. And the sad thing about it is that the kids are watching, and children are observational learners. How are you going to tell your kid, don't be unkind to people, don't berate people, don't make fun of people, when a political, candidate for president makes fun of somebody that's disabled? How do you tell your children you don't go around calling people names, and, or you don't make fun of people when Hillary Clinton is tweeting, making fun of the guys while they're, and I don't throw cover for any of them, because I'm so disappointed in all of them, because it's just become such a circus. And, the conditions of the people in the country, because they're so desperate, and they go to work every day and they feel like they're being wrong. They just latch onto this hope or to whoever's saying whatever that they resonate with. And it's just become, it's so sad. It really is so sad, because we're supposed to be leading the world, and people look at us and laugh. I travel the world. And people think that it's a joke. They're like, you guys, Donald Trump is really running for president in your country. The guy from The Apprentice, the guy from the pageants. Like, people actually say that to me.
No, well, and they have every right to. It's just like, if you haven't been outside of America all that much, one thing that you don't necessarily pick up on is that there's a couple different sort of like prevailing narratives about Americans that exist in Europe and whatnot. I'm not saying, Europe is great and America is not, but I will say this, though. The view of America from the rest of the world is that we are the deadliest country there is. Like, we have the most powerful military. We are the scariest country. What we do affects the rest of the world in ways that other nations could only dream of. And they look at us right now with our political process. Like Marco Rubio's so far down, but Marco's got jokes, he's got snaps. He's able to, talk like, and it's funny. People give Donald Trump a hard time, but it was Marco that was like, look at the size of his hands. You know what he's packing south of the equator. Next to nothing. Am I right, folks? And it's just like, he's trying to stay alive. So he's swinging, trying with snaps and whatever the hell else he's got going on. And all of a sudden, our political process has degenerated into check out the size of my junk. And the rest of the world looks at us like we are a drunk, high 16-year-old that got handed the keys to a Ferrari and we're about to crash it the hell into the wall. They look at us like we're semi-evolved simians picking and eating fleas off of one another, and it scares the rest of the world what our political process has become.
And it oppresses other people, because then those people and those governments are like, you see what's happening over there? You see what that's becoming? That's why women have to be completely covered, because they're getting raped. And while the political candidates are fighting, women are getting raped and people are poor and they're struggling. That's why you need us to tell you what to do, because look what happens when there's democracy. You have a reality show man that walks around with Playboy bunnies and strippers and says that he fantasizes about being with his daughter. That's what people say, when you go to other countries, and then they justify what they're doing because they're looking at us as an example and saying, we're not going to let our country turn into that. And, the media doesn't help, because then the media highlights what's the highlight, because that's what the job of the media is to drive what the highlight is. So it's just become one big circle. And it makes us vulnerable to the rest of the world, because if they think that we're falling apart from within, then they think they can infiltrate. We've always been a superpower, and we've always been the strongest, country in one of the strongest countries in the world. And we've always been the leaders of the free world. And people are looking at us and saying, oh God, the Celebrity Apprentice guy is running for president. And then the other guy is cooking bacon with his guns. And then,
oh my God. Yeah. The machine gun bacon with Ted Cruz. Yeah. I forgot about that. That happened so long ago, and everyone's like, yeah, we've got a guy that wants to be president that wraps some bacon around. Wraps some bacon around a machine gun. It's just like
that was funny though.
That was funny, but it's so far gone now. There's been so much egregious, awful, humiliating stuff that has happened as part of our political process since Ted Cruz cooked and ate bacon on a machine gun. That you forget about that.
Yeah, I know. And then one of them makes a video with America is beautiful, and then it's a picture of Vancouver, and then one is using soldiers. It's just awe, and our female president candidate, is she going to jail or is she going in the office? It's like all sounds like taglines from new reality shows that are coming out next season.
Is she going to jail? Is she going into office? More at 11. More from Aida Rodriguez. We are so happy to have you here when we get back. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you.
It's you and the senorita, whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker, knocking the mama seat top down like a player, and the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater, I'm balling like they're a cheater, complete on the marathon, I mean the very last meter, competition defeated, cause you're my voice is just sweeter, so come on follow the leader, plus I got the dopest of sneakers. Modesty, nobody has ever been better, smarter, more clever. I'm winning every endeavor in competition. No, you never see a better competitor. Every fight of vendetta till a head has been severed. I'm the best that there is. I wake up and piss excellence. And if you're coming to battle on your house, I put up excellence.
more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
I just got a tweet from Scott Briscoe, who listens to the show a lot, is a Texan that moved to Colorado so he could start his own business in the world of things that people are starting business in Colorado at the moment. And a guy who recently, he said they made it really hard for him to unregister from the Republican Party. He was like, this is the Republican Party. That's it. I'm out. And he said it was like trying to, he messaged me a couple of days ago. He was just like, yeah, it was really difficult getting out of the Republican Party because he's like, I got the impression it's like trying to quit your gym membership. You know, it's just like.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm registered independent since I started voting because I decided that I was going to vote as a very young voter, that I was going to vote for issues and not parties, and that I would be interested in what was best for the people. So I never got caught up in that. And, you know, it's just I told you, the Red Sox and the Yankees, I don't know when that happens, but it's gotten to the point where you can't even have a conversation about politics because people will fight. And it's so... You know, it's like robotic. Like people have become like just consumers of fast food and news lines and Twitter feeds, and they're just not thinking for themselves anymore. They're like on autopilot, and it's really sad.
You know, for a country that's supposed to be all about individual liberties, you know, like it's the Constitution sort of like says an awful lot about the individual. You know, all men created equal, all of the above. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, it stresses the power and the meaning of the individual on a regular basis. But we as a society really don't do a whole lot to celebrate the individual.
No.
We really embrace you if you're a joiner in this country. Like, oh, you want to sign up, want to be part of our club, want to fit in? You want to fit in, don't you?
Yeah.
And I think... One thing that you brought up and Scott was talking about when he tweeted me was the fact that the media circus that it struck me when the first presidential debate happened. And we've talked about this a bunch on the show. When it happened, I'm in the studio on a rock station I work for, wanting to see what the hell's going on. It's like, holy crap, this is the GOP. It's like a freaking clown car this time out. Donald Trump's first ever debate. Yeah, I'm popping some popcorn. I want to see this. And the cable package that they bought for the rock studio, not the same as they bought for the news studio down the hall. So I don't get Fox News. And I'm like trying to watch live streams of it. Yeah, no, that's exactly how I felt. I went full on Alex Jones cry when it happened because I realized I couldn't see it. And I was just like,
folks, we gotta get good people to stand up against these people.
Thank you, Funkhauser. I was just like, I can't, how is this a participatory democracy? What if you're a cord cutter? What if you don't want to pay the extra however many dollars a month to watch Fox News? And they're shutting down streams left, right, and center. Why? Because this makes for great ratings, and this makes for huge ad revenue. And I was just like, it's unconscionable that some people can't watch this. This is supposed to be a part of our political process, and the media has, not us because we don't have any real power, but like the large media corporations are like, holy, look how I walked away and absolved myself from any responsibility on that one. But the legit media has, I think, fanned the flames by being like, to stay alive, Marco Rubio, you're going to have to talk about Donald Trump's junk. It's the only way you're going to make it to Florida and have a snowball's chance in hell of getting elected. And it's the celebration of the ridiculousness. The people screaming and yelling in the background at the debates.
Yes, absolutely.
Shut the hell up. This is not the peanut gallery. And then like a buddy of mine covered the debate in Houston. He went to it and I was like, who are he was like, well, there are a lot of delegates and stuff. I was like, hold up. Delegates are like booing and hissing when people say stuff. And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, it's become, it's like I said, idiocracy at its best. I really think, I don't want to condone the behavior that anybody has exhibited that's less than honorable. So I think that, there are more dynamic personalities that are, taking the stage in the Republican Party because there are more. But, it's just become so dynamic to watch. And people get so caught up with Fox News and I'm an MSNBC everybody's in a fraternity now. But when you go behind the scenes, Bill Maher and Ann Coulter are friends. You know what I mean? Like, these people are at their throats and, you know, he's a conservative and you libtard. And, you know, people are always assuming, you know, it's just so ridiculous at this point that it's unbelievable. And I think it's so funny. Mike Dicker got fired or demoted because of what he said about Obama. And you know what? I am a freedom of speech advocate as a comedian. And I understand both sides of it. I think Mike Dicker, people are watching sports. They don't want to hear what you care. When they follow you, they want to hear what you think about football. I got passionate. I'm sorry. They don't care about what don't bring your politics into people's sports. That's where they enjoy themselves. They don't want politics there. So I get that. But I also feel like he has the right to express how he feels, whether you agree with it or not. And it's just become such a clown fest that, you know, people are fighting on Facebook because of that today. That's the fight. And in the meantime, you know, we're struggling. People are poor, the homeless, you know, education. Kids are not learning geography. The arts are being cut from, you know, the school system and the academic programs. Teachers aren't getting paid enough money. They're disgruntled. Crime rate. People in Chicago dying every second. And we're so concerned with all this foolishness. And these are the social ills that are really tearing our country apart from the inside out. And while we're worried about Donald Trump and defending Ann Coulter, we are going to work for a minimum wage that is ridiculous and embarrassing. And it's just become. I don't know how we fix this. I really want to focus on solution.
You could make so much money. I'm sure you do great now, but you could make so much money if you were to go hardcore conservative, because like Ann Coulter, who you brought up, she thinks she's Jon Stewart. She thinks she's funny. The right doesn't have anyone funny. If like someone funny just, you know, was like, F it, I'm just going to sell myself out in every way, shape, or form possible and go hard right wing and be an actual funny person on the right, you could clean the hell up. More from Aida Rodriguez when we get back.
With puppies in my face and Dad gotta join the human race. Time for a yawn and a stretch and a walk, you see. They know my order at the restaurant across the street. That's why when I shuffle in, my coffee's already waiting for me.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Our guest on the show today, the hilarious Aida Rodriguez. Follow her on Twitter at FunnyAida. Check out FunnyAida.com. You probably know her as being one of the top 10 finalists on Season 8 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. Also Nickelodeon's Mom's Night Out, Parental Discretion, Nouveau TV's Stand Up and Deliver. And I think really, really, if you had ever seen her live, which I have, you would absolutely remember her. I go see a lot of comedy. Like, I think I realized I was getting old when I went to the Improv, and I was like, hey, this is fantastic. I've had a meal. I've been entertained. It's 10:30 and I'm going to be in bed by 11. This is fantastic. So I started seeing a lot of comedy once I became aware of that being a night out. And you see tons of people, and some people don't necessarily, as funny as they are, they don't necessarily stick in your memory. You see Aida Rodriguez once, you will know who she is for the rest of your life.
Thank you so much. That is so sweet.
So true, though. Let me ask you this. Kim Kardashian naked selfie gate. Your thoughts. Go.
Oh, man. You know, that's I'm working on something on this right now. I'm so confused about this whole thing about feminism. There's a new wave of feminism. I stand on the front line for feminism. I fight for the right for Kim Kardashian to get naked if she wants to. But I think that on the front line of this, on the top of the list, the priority list for us is equal pay, equality. Women were arguing, well, when Justin Bieber got naked, men are not sexually exploited constantly, are not being used as sexual objects and exploited constantly. That is not. I don't need to do what a man does. I need to get paid the same as a man. I don't need to argue that I want to take my shirt off. That diminishes our real struggle and our real battle of equality. And I think the bigger issues that we have to deal with rape culture and all that, those kinds of things, which I think are higher on the priority list. Yes, go get naked, do whatever you want. What do you expect Kim Kardashian to do? Show you a picture of herself in the lab working on the cure for cancer? Like she is, people are like, she has made made herself a personality, and her job is validation. Every like that she gets, every supporter, every follower that she gets increases her revenue. That's what she's built her business on. So when people, like Pink made a statement and then people came for Kim and said, Amber Rose said, Kim, you shouldn't be talking about her because shut up and sit down. Like Kim Kardashian is not showing her true body. She's showing herself after plastic surgery and Botox and jobs and butt injections and all that stuff. That is not her being proud of her true body. A Photoshop selfie of her naked body is not her being proud of her body. If she was proud of her body, it would be unedited. It would be an unedited version. It's like when the woman showed a picture of herself with stretch marks. And so just as much as Kim Kardashian has the right to show her body naked, there are some young women who choose to be demure, and their battle and their choice is to go forward with their brains and their, in a different brand. And they should be allowed and not be struck down by feminism because they don't want to be, that's not what the journey that they've chosen. And that is so frustrating as a woman because my daughter is somebody who doesn't want to walk around half naked. That doesn't mean that she's not a feminist or she's not proud of her body. She just doesn't want to walk around naked because she knows that there are some people who would abuse that. Even though it shouldn't be that way, you're still accountable for yourself. And you have to know that there are some people out there that are ready to rape you and do something to you. It shouldn't be that way. I'm not excusing that. But there's some people who don't want to walk around being naked. Why should they be condemned by feminism? Isn't that what real feminism is?
Well, I think, if you don't want to walk around naked, that, makes you someone who's aware of the reality of the situation. Your daughter going, hey, I'm going to be careful and not put myself out there that way. Doesn't mean I'm ashamed. Doesn't mean I'm not a feminist. Doesn't mean I'm not someone that's going to help the world go around in my own unique and awesome way just because I'm not willing to show more flesh online. That makes her someone who's aware of the reality of the situation. That might not be a good idea for the vast majority of us. That's not a good idea.
It's not, and the other thing is Kim Kardashian shows her body naked. She walks around with 5 or 6 security guards.
Yeah, she has a security detail. Yeah, the average sort of person is,
So, and I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right, nor anybody. You want to show your body, you have that is your right. I will stand on the front line for that. I stand on the front line for Amy Schumer to talk about whatever she wants to talk about. Absolutely, I do. I believe in equality and I believe in equal pay. But I just don't think that is that one-sided. And I just hate the fact that when you are not arguing in favor of what's popular now, whether it is well supported and substantiated, you are condemned by the popular masses because it's like the Salem witch hunts. People come for you so ferociously when you don't agree with what's popular. And this wave of feminism and, political correctness and all of it's all, come on, man, like you want to be politically correct for me, a person of color, but you have no idea where I come from. I don't need you to patronize me with your false, support of me. I want you to just be real with me and understand where I come from and respect me because as a human being, that's what you want to do. And I'm so tired of all this foolishness. And that's why I talk about it in my stand-up. And if you don't like it, like I said, you can unlike, you can unfollow, you can get up and walk out, get your money back. I insist that the clubs give you your money back if you don't like what I'm saying, because I'm so tired of people who don't speak up with the masses and are not like Hollywood. You get condemned and you get shut down. And I'm not going to get shut down because I don't agree with what you're saying.
Have you ever offered someone their money back? Have you ever had to have that conversation?
Yes, in Texas. I had two hecklers sitting in the front.
By the way, what's up, Houston? How's it going?
How did you know? It was so funny. No, actually, it was in Dallas, in Addison. I had two people who talked through the whole show. Everybody was so frustrated with them. The man showed me his dog tags from the military. Like, that was his permission. And I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. More than anybody in here, you should know what respect is. And then his wife got up and said, you can't talk to us like that. You can't throw us out of here. And I said, I absolutely can. Please leave. And so the only time I've ever done that. It's never happened to me before.
Wow. No, that's very interesting. You ever, do you know that singer Ryan Adams?
Yeah.
He's sort of like alt country sort of guy who, weirdly enough, was married to Mandy Moore for years. Very, very strange. But his name, Ryan Adams, sounds not unlike Bryan Adams. And there was a wonderful incident where, and this one goes down in the history books, and I guess he got it an awful lot, but he's playing his show. And because his name sounds vaguely like Bryan Adams, some guy is screaming at the back of the concert hall, "Summer of '69!" He stops the show, walks off stage, goes over to the guy, takes money out of his wallet, gives it to him. He's like, "There's the price of your ticket. Get out." It was just
I know.
I clutched that one. I've clutched that one to my heart forever. It's weird though, because I guess comics at every stage in the game kind of have to deal with hecklers or unruly people or people that are just there for the attention. And like, you think that people that are the Louis C.K.'s of this world or the Jim Jeffries of this world, people that are selling out theaters and have huge specials, you still see them deal with it on a regular basis. Like on radio, it's especially music radio. You got to understand that there's people driving their kids home and they just want to hear their Metallica and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it's your job to get them home and make them laugh and make them entertained and informed. And it's not necessarily a place for you to spout off about stuff, and it takes a while to recognize that. But you would think that if you get into the position of a comic where you are selling tickets, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people there to see you, interested in what you have to say. They're buying into you, your act, your shtick, your personality. You would think that you wouldn't have to deal with that anymore, but it's crazy to see that it happens at every single level, including yours. And you're such a powerful, strong, sort of like well-defined personality and point of view. You would think that people that came to your shows would be like, I know what I'm getting. I'm here for this and this alone. But there's still people that are going to give you a hard time. That's absolutely bananas.
Everybody wants attention now. That's the thing. We're in an age of narcissism, and it's all of us. We want to say it's Kim Kardashian and it's Amber Rose. All of us. We all have selfies. We're all taking pictures. I'm going to do this. My life is awesome. It's been implemented in our culture, and we live for it now. And it's everybody, So I just think we're so busy policing everybody else too. It's just so exhausting to be worried. Like, why are so many people worried about Kim Kardashian? She's built an empire. We have so many things to worry about. And if you build your daughter up and you show your daughter the way and you really instill confidence and positivity into your daughter, then Kim Kardashian doesn't have to be her role model. She can just become her own. And that's really what the objective should be, as opposed to, she's naked and all of our girls are watching her. Well, my daughter has never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Not because she thinks she's better than them or she thinks they're bad. That's just not.
Because you're a good parent. That's why she's never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because you're doing your freaking job as a mom. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
She's not interested.
Well done.
She really.
And the fact that she's not interested just says something about your parenting. It's just. Let me ask you this real quick, because I don't want to run out of time. Everybody has like this aha moment that I know that's in music or entertainment or radio or whatever, where they go, it was this show, it was this album, it was this artist, it was this song that made me go, I'm bitten by this bug and I have to do this. For you and comedy, What was that for you?
Well, very simple. I started doing stand-up. I was doing radio. I was doing spots with Jamie Foxx's radio, The Foxhole, and one of the guys that's in the entourage took me to Arizona to do my very first show. I performed in front of at the Orpheum Theater. It was a pretty good crowd. I got paid. They flew me in. My very first time on stage, which is very false setup for what the real life of stand-up is going to be. I got paid $500. I never got paid $500 again for years. But
you did your first show. You got paid $500
and I got
in front of a full theater.
Flown I did 5 minutes. I got flown a hotel and I did great. And I was like, oh, I like this. When I got back to Hollywood, I was feeling myself because I was like, oh, I'm a comic. I've been on stage in front of a theater. And I went and I performed at the Laugh Factory. I did a show called Chocolate Sundays on Sunday. And I went and I did the show. And I started off like, it was amazing. My first 45 seconds on stage, I crushed. And after that 45 seconds, I proceeded to die. I mean, so bad that you would have to conduct a seance to contact my soul at that moment because I died so bad on stage.
So wait, is your entire career based on chasing the initial first 45-second high and the initial first $500 paying gig in front of a packed theater? Is this what your whole career is based on, chasing that first time?
No, my whole career is validating, my mom dating a guy on the FBI's most wanted list of murderers. But that day that I bombed.
Aida Rodriguez, we're out of time, but thank you so much for being here. Come back literally any time that you want to. This has absolutely flown by. This has been so much fun. We appreciate you. FunnyAida.com and follow her online at Twitter. I'm so excited. I can barely speak.
Thank you for having me.
We have a brush with greatness. Have your own brush with greatness by following her on Twitter at FunnyAida.
Thank you so much.
Times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being